What's up guys, welcome back to Grafting Dragon Fruit. It's Richard, and in this video today I'm going to be giving you guys a mid-season update at Dragon Valley. So if you guys are ready, let's go check it out. So a lot has been happening here at GDF headquarters, you guys. I've been leaving a lot of growth to just kind of grow and haven't been really pruning because I've been promising you guys cuttings on the website. So that's going to be coming very soon. It's going to be on www.graftingdragonfruits.com. So be ready for that, you guys. We'll post all about it. But today I'm just going to be showing you guys what's been going on, all of the projects that I've been doing, and what fruits I'm going to be harvesting today. So the first one is going to be Condor. I don't know if you guys remember last season, Condor did not look this wide span of branches, but I've been just letting it go. Mainly because of the website. I wanted to give you guys a chance to finally own some of these dragon fruit varieties that I've been growing myself, so that way you can taste all of these delicious fruits for yourself. But here we go. I have been harvesting some of the fruits mainly because there was this week where it was just so hot. I'm in Southern California in Anaheim, and there was maybe 3 to 4 days where we were just sitting at 93, 94, even a day where it was just like 100 degrees. So when that happens, a lot of sunburn happens. You get to see the yellow. The fruits just are so hot. I feel like it gets to a point where they feel like they're boiling and they just crack their skin. But that's just minor things. You know, if you guys have umbrella, it's a really good idea to put it over to block it on those heat waves. But I have kids now, so I didn't have time to do all that. I just let nature take its role, and you know, it's still doing well. So I'm pretty happy about that. But let's go ahead and harvest this Condor that's absolutely ready. Oh, wow, look at that. The wiggle test, nice wiggle. We got lots of color. The fins are starting to turn red with very little green. So this is very good signs that it's ready. And another one is, you probably can't see it through the camera, but I'm gonna try my best to show you guys. This part right here, it's gonna crack. If you guys ever are wondering if your fruits are gonna crack or if it's ready to harvest, look at the skin to see if you guys see this white line right here. If I wait another day or two, it'll do this. You guys see, it gets so ripe, and the heat also kind of like expands them. Then they just crack, but the fruit is still delicious, still gonna taste good. There's nothing wrong with it. I have a Sharpie with me here that I'm gonna mark. I'm gonna write Condor. So that way, once I harvest more fruits, I won't lose track of what variety I just harvest. And once I go in there, I can do proper testing and tasting with the variety that I harvest. Okay, so I think that was it for Condor. We have some other fruits here that are starting to blush. Here's a nice one that's blushing. Not quite ready yet. We're looking for something like this. So they're gonna probably sit in on the branch for another week before they're ready for harvest. All right, so that's Condor. Next I have here is my Vietnam White. So I've been doing a lot of thinking and reverting back on what I wanted to do. A lot of the times I was breeding things that just sounded cool, and my process of creating hybrids, I was just trying to match varieties that I thought taste good and try to put them together to see if I can graft them, grow them, and have an even better variety. But the problem with that is I was creating all of these varieties that were always self-sterile. And at one point I'm like, why am I creating super good fruits, but very hard to get the fruits? You have to cross-pollinate it. You have to have multiple varieties just to get the fruit. So my plan this time when I'm breeding and creating hybrids is we're gonna make a super exotic fruit. We want it to be self-fertile, and we want to be self-pollinating. So what I've done this year, guys, is I've used Vietnam White as my main mother to a lot of the pollens, and a lot of the varieties here. I haven't been really trying to create any other hybrids with the rest of my varieties, but Vietnam White has been my main focus. Edgar Valdivia was actually the person, he's my mentor, and he's one of the dragon fruit legends. He has always had this idea, but for some reason he just never did it because he says that he just went too far with the Asuntas to go back to it. So he gave me the idea, and I'm so happy that he did, because I think that this is going to help the dragon fruit community and a lot of the people that are growing dragon fruit. There's so many people that are starting to get in dragon fruit now, and the main problem is, why won't my dragon fruit fruit, and why does it flower but always falls off or doesn't set the fruit? So my goal this time is to create a variety that has a beautiful flower, really tasty fruit, self-fertile, self-pollinating, so that way anybody can grow dragon fruit. It can be your child, it could be yourself, it could be older people. Anybody can grow this variety. So that is my main goal. I want you to be able to grab a branch, stick it into the soil, and not have to worry about anything and still get fruit. So those are the big projects that I'm working on with Vietnam White. And that's why I have these fruit bags over them. What I've done is pollinated the night that it bloomed, but before it fully opened, I've actually cut the petals. Let me put these down. So I'm gonna show you guys what I've been doing with this Vietnam White to create a new variety without having its pollen affect the pollination process, because Vietnam White is self-fertile and it is self-pollinating. The anthers are so close to the stigma that they touch. So before it bloomed, if you guys check this out, it was closed and I had to pry all of this open and I gave it a haircut. What I did was I cut the petals, and inside I also cut all of the anthers. So you guys see in here, there's no anthers. It looked like it got mutilated by a massacre, you know, but I did that on purpose so that way I can take some of my other pollen, pollinate it, and don't have to worry about it getting cross-contaminated with the Vietnam White pollen. And this one here, I crossed it with wild berry Skittles. This one over here, I crossed with Asunta 5 Paco. And I did the same thing. I did the haircut and pollinated them. So we'll see, you guys. It's gonna be a long project, but I am very dedicated and I'm willing to take all of my time until I achieve that ultimate goal. So that way everybody benefits, not just me. All right, and so that's the Vietnam White. Now Vietnam White is just mainly used to create the super dragon fruit that everybody can grow. All right, next up is we have Townsend Pink. Townsend Pink is a great fruit. I love it because it reminds me of pear flavor, and it also has that nice sharp tart to it. So if you're someone that doesn't like too sweet of a fruit, Townsend Pink is always a variety that I recommend to everybody. It is self-fertile, but it is not self-pollinating, because sometimes these guys would flower and there would be no pollen in the anthers. I don't know why, but it's a known thing for Townsend Pink, and I've asked other dragon fruit growers and they say the same thing. So they have the anthers and everything, it's always dry. There's not much pollen on them, but it's a 50-50. There'll be days where I come out here and there's pollen. Some days I come out here and it's just dry. But if there is pollen or not, just try to use it anyways and you will set fruit. But if you have other pollen, cross-pollinate it, because once you cross-pollinate, the fruits get bigger anyways, all right? And we got some flowers blooming tonight on Townsend Pink. Here's one starting to blossom. But we have a lot of flowers that we've been pollinating for the last couple of days. So I've been not sleeping much, but it's always totally worth it to be out here with the dragon fruits late at nights. All right, guys, next is one of my favorite dragon fruits. Can you guess what it is? You guys recognize what this is? It's Sugar Dragon. Sugar Dragon is a fruit producing machine. I am literally on my 5th or 6th wave of fruits. This variety doesn't stop producing fruits. It started in April and I've been having buds ever since April, you guys. I've harvested Sugar Dragon about 3 or 4 times already. And as you can see all of the stages of the bud progression on here. I have new buds here. I have one that's gonna be flowering. I have some that I just pollinated already last night, and I have fruits that are ready to grow, and I even have fruits that's ready to harvest. So if you guys are looking for a variety that's a good pollinator and a fruit producing machine, and if you are someone that has multiple varieties that need to be cross-pollinated, Sugar Dragon is a really, really good beginner and pollinator variety. This variety always grows and puts out buds very early in the season, so you can store, freeze, and collect all of this pollen so you can cross-pollinate all of your sterile varieties. And Sugar Dragon, from my experience, has been really good at pollinating all of the sterile varieties. I've had no fail or aborts when I'm using Sugar Dragon, except for this one variety, and I'll show you guys once we get to that one. So we do have a lot of fruits to harvest, so we might as well take them down and you know, wash them up and enjoy them later. So wiggle test, looking good. Bam. Check that out, guys. All right, I'm just gonna go around and harvest all of these sugar dragons here. They are getting so nice and plumped. One new thing that I've been doing with sugar dragon is I've been harvesting them at this stage. Give me 1 second so I can grab that for you guys, and you can see what I'm talking about. I've been harvesting sugar dragon at this stage where it has a little green on it. You guys see all this? This is really sweet, but there's no tart or acid to it. When you guys harvest at this stage, it has a little bit of tartness and the sugar is still in there and it tastes absolutely amazing. When you guys have contrast with acid and sugar together, it makes it taste even sweeter because there's something to contrast it with. So I really recommend, if you haven't tried sugar dragon at this stage, give it a try. You guys might like it. And when they're kind of ripe like this, I noticed that the flesh kind of gets not as firm anymore. It reminds me of ripe raspberry texture, but when it's like this, it's a little bit more firm, a little bit more crunchy, so that's always fun. And here's another one that is also at the stage that I like it. So how I harvest is kind of half red, half green. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna climb behind this trellis here. So you guys don't know this, but I'm a part-time contortionist because I'm always doing stuff like this and to harvest all of these delicious dragon fruits that are just hiding behind the trellis. And I think I'll leave these to completely get red so that way I can share to my friends and family that I liked it fully sweet. So got a nice batch of sugar dragons here. Check that out, guys. And it just keeps on putting out fruit. I harvest this, but in the next week, I'll have some more to harvest. Like I said, I've been eating dragon fruit since April, and sugar dragon is the reason why, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. I'll come back to collect all of that later. We are gonna go, so these are all of the new trellis that I've used Gary's Best topsoil with. And this has been an experiment to see if this soil is a good permanent soil for the dragon fruit. And so far, they've been doing really well. They've been in here for about a year now, and usually about a year, the soil kind of decomposes and the roots kind of bind up and then the top gets hard. But with this, we're having no problem with that. Still loose soil, nice and dry. I just watered it yesterday. It's really good draining. The only downfall about it is you guys have to water more often, but it's okay. If you guys love your dragon fruit, you're gonna come out here and look at them anyways. Might as well give them some water while you guys are out here. So we have another trellis of sugar dragon. This is wild berry Skittles, and this is American Beauty. And behind me is a new variety. This is a robless red seedling. I've tried the fruit last year, but don't quite remember if I liked it enough to keep it and make its own pot. So I'm letting it do its thing again, letting it fruit. So you can see we have nice robless red seedling flowers. And once I taste the fruit, I'll give it a proper name to reflect how it tastes. All right, guys. All right, we're gonna go right across over here. So again, guys, these are all the pots with Gary's Best topsoil, Ohana Express, slow grower. I grafted them. Even the graft kind of helped it grow a little quicker, but still not fast enough. So you guys have Ohana Express. You guys see that it also grows slow like mine. Next one is Sour Patch Kids. And you guys can see it's doing great. Look at all of this new growth. Pretty soon here, by next year, this canopy is gonna be full and I'm gonna have to move it to a place with more space. Over here, we have Sour Patch Watermelon. So this one I just topped. A lot of new growth coming out. We're letting these branches grow. Once they get to a stage where they look great, then I'll continue to prune to make it look really nice, make that canopy umbrella out. Here I have Pink Panther. Pink Panther is the sister of Sugar Dragon. So their fruit is very sweet, and I love Pink Panther. It's also one of my favorites as well. It's not a fruit producing machine like Sugar Dragon, but it's close. It still produces a lot of fruit. But checking this out, I just noticed something. Watch this, guys. In here is a caterpillar eating at the new growth. So I highly recommend you guys come out here and check your new growth daily. During the summertime, butterflies, moths, they like to lay eggs on your dragon fruit. And when those eggs hatch, these little caterpillars come out and eat at the new growth very quickly. Your whole growth can be damaged within a day. So I see that already, there's holes and they're just eating at it. What I'm gonna do is just open this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So there he is. He's tiny. He's right under the scissor right here, and he's eating right into it. What they do is they have a digestive tract that spits the saliva out, and it makes everything very, like they digest this very easily. So what I'm gonna do is take this out, so that way you guys can see this little bugger. They're small, but they can, oh look, he's moving, but they can cause a lot of damage. So what I'm gonna do is just, you know, put this guy out of his misery, so that way we don't have to worry about him again. So that's Pink Panther. So glad I caught that at an early stage, because this, I would have lost this branch and I would have had to wait for a new growth to come out, and that would have been very sad, very sad. All right, we're moving on. This is Thai Gold. Also in the Gary's best topsoil. Thai Gold was very, very bushy before I pruned it. And after I finally pruned it, it finally corrected itself and started leading the growth upwards. So now I finally topped them, waiting for the new branches to grow. And here is Asunta 6. Asunta 6 is such a great grower. They have really strong, thick branches. They don't catch disease easily. And when they put out new growth, even the young growth looks so healthy and strong. So definitely got to move this into an area with more space soon, so that way the branches have room to start umbrellaing out and start to look super beautiful. So yeah, so the Gary's Best Topsoil has been doing so well. I really like them, but I found a person that's going to teach me how to make Gary's Best Topsoil, but better. And that episode is going to be coming soon, so keep an eye out on that. So if you guys are someone that always wanted to use the soil and didn't have access to it, hold on to your horses, because we're going to be showing you guys how to make Gary's Best Topsoil even better and more cost efficient. And for people that can't find it, you're going to find access to it with all of the supplies that we use. It's very easy to make. So I'm very excited to share that episode with you guys very soon. All right, we're going to go to all of the other dragon fruits on this side where they're all mature, growing, and fruiting. Here is my Asunta 6 trellis. We have Pixie Sky here. The pink one that you see here that is bloomed already, I already pollinated this. This is Nectar Sunrise. And if you guys look behind Nectar Sunrise, those are Berry Breath. So they are all Asunta 6 sisters. And, oh, this is Tropical Skies here. Forgot to point that out. There's a flower here, and the fruits are growing. The one thing I've noticed by putting it in this corner, if you guys don't notice, on top of me is a huge, gigantic avocado tree. During the time when I put it here, I thought that by putting it under shade, it's gonna put out more growth so that I would have more cuttings to finally share with people. But what that did was it didn't put out more growth. It kind of grew slower because it wasn't getting enough sun. And because it wasn't getting enough sun, it wasn't producing a lot of fruits like all of my other trellis that were getting a lot of sun. So now I'm starting to find out the importance of finding that fine balance with enough sun and not too much where you're getting sunburn and all that. So this has been a really valuable lesson to me. In all shade in California, they do good, they look very healthy, but they don't produce a lot of fruit. And during dragon fruit season, if you want a lot of fruit, make sure they get a lot of sun. I want to say like at least 8 hours plus. This only gets the morning sun, and by the time it reaches to the other side, it's getting blocked by this avocado tree and my shed that's right next to it. So it's not producing a lot of fruits, and I want to move it eventually to an area that has more sun. So that's one important thing that I learned, is give your dragon fruits full sun. You will get a lot of fruits. This trellis here has Vietnam Red. I have Cotton Candy, and I also have Connie Meyer. There's a Connie Meyer fruit down here, just only one. And as you guys can see, this trellis is right next to my Asunta 6 trellis. It has a lot of great growth, really vibrant green thick branches, but not a lot of fruit. And that's mainly because it's not getting enough sun, you guys. I've fertilized it with the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom. I've used Flora Nova Bloom to try to induce budding. And I do get buds, but not a lot of them. So I need to definitely find a way to get these guys out to more sun, so that way they can start producing the amount of fruit that I like. And over here, we have Costaricensis. This is from Oceanside Dragon Fruit. I've got this from their farm, and during that time, they said that it was like Trisha, but better. So During when I was growing, I really liked Trisha, and they said that it was better, so I was very curious. To me, I don't like it as much because it has a strong earthy taste to it, and the texture is kind of like a beet. I'm gonna give it one more try to see if I want to keep it, but if it still tastes like how I remembered it, then it's probably gonna be chopped down and removed from my garden, and then I'm gonna add something that I like more. And we have G2 here, just a bud here, again, next underneath this orange tree, so it's not producing a lot of buds, but on the side that does get all the sun because it sets, you know, over here and goes down, I'm getting a lot of the natural mystic. So you guys check out this side. There's so many natural mystic buds that have been setting. I've been pollinating with its own pollen, so you know it's self-fertile and they're growing very well. And natural mystic is also another variety that I'm thinking of taking out. A lot of people like him, but I haven't had a season where I've eaten natural mystic and liked it. So again, this year I'm weeding out a lot of the varieties that I don't like because I have all of these new creations that I want to make room for. So if natural mystic doesn't pass that test, it's going to be also removed. So I will make another episode of all the varieties that I will be removing, just in case if you guys want to remove some or know why I removed it, then you guys can check that episode out. So that would be on a whole total new episode. All right, this trellis here is a little special. I've been waiting 3 years for this specific Asunta 6 sister to bloom. And finally, after 3 years, it finally bloomed. So do you guys remember when I was at Sugar Dragon and I was telling you guys how Sugar Dragon is a really good pollinator? It is a very good pollinator, but for the first time ever, I used Sugar Dragon on this Asunta 6 sister. It didn't take it. I was like, oh yeah, you know, Sugar Dragon, no problem. So I pollinated some of the flowers that were here and it aborted. And I was so confused. I was like, why did it abort? Sugar Dragon is a good pollinator. So I didn't use Sugar Dragon. You know, I thought maybe it was a fluke, but just in case it was Sugar Dragon, I changed it to a different pollen. I used Pink Panther. Pink Panther is right next to this Asunta 6 sister. And guess what? Because Pink Panther is the sister of Sugar Dragon, also Pink Panther's pollen did not work to pollinate this fruit. So I lost a second fruit. So that was two fruits out of 5 that I lost, and I was so devastated. I was like, what is going on? Is it the pollen? Because if it doesn't like Sugar Dragon, it might not like any pollen. So I was very scared. Luckily, one night I had the A6 sister bloom, and I also had pink Laverne bloom, and I used pink Laverne's pollen, and it finally set into fruit. So I'm so happy because I waited 3 years for this to flower. So I wanted to try this fruit desperately. And finally, I got the fruit to set. So just to be sure, I collected a lot of the pink Laverne pollen and started to use pink Laverne only because I really wanted to try this fruit. Next season, I'll test other pollens, but for this season, I just want the fruit to grow so that way I can see if it's even worth keeping and creating its own trellis. And I just talked about this one here, guys. This is Pink Panther. Look at this fruit producing machine. I haven't harvested a Pink Panther fruit yet, so it's not like a true fruit producing machine like Sugar Dragon, but it does produce productivity. So look at all of these fruits. I do have some that's gonna be ready to harvest in maybe another 4 or 5 days. I like these to turn fully red because they're almost like crystallized sugar and they taste so good. And one way to tell the difference from Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther is the flesh color. Pink Panther has pink flesh and Sugar Dragon has red flesh, and Pink Panther also has thorns. So if you guys harvest Pink Panther, be very careful when you grab the base of the fruit. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's 2 thorns right here, and they are small, thin, and very sharp. And once it pokes you, it's gonna hurt a lot. All right, behind Pink Panther is Hana. I really love Hana because of its flower. Let's see if it still has it. Oh yes, it does. Check out this flower, you guys. On the inside, it's a nice pink pastel color that for some reason at night, just looking at it, gives me a very sense of comfort. It just feels right when I'm looking at this flower for some reason. So I really, really like Hana. Hana has a very tropical flavor. It reminds me of Logan, lychee, and has hints of durian. So that's why I got it. They don't grow too big of fruits, but the flavor profile of it is kind of insane. So I really like that. All right, guys, next trellis is Thai Gold. Thai Gold is this one right here. So the fruits have been growing very, very nice and green. Eventually they're gonna turn full yellow. And we even have more Thai gold buds here. Love how these buds look. They look like little dragon eggs. And we have white sapphire. White sapphire, even though the name is white sapphire, I don't know why it's named that way, because the flesh is pink. Self-fertile, reminds me of Delight, but I still think Delight is a lot better, but it's a self-stir variety, so you need to cross-pollinate to get that fruit. All right, so next we have is Frankie's Red. Frankie's Red just looks so different from all of the other dragon fruits that we grow here. It's a fruit that turns orange. So I really like the fact the color looks really cool. It's self-fertile, so I've tried to use its own pollen. I used to thought it was you needed to cross-pollinate to get fruit on this. But one day somebody told me like, hey, you know they're self-fertile, right? You can try its own pollen. I was like, no way. Tried its own pollen and it did very well. I think it likes its own pollen because the fruits this year are even bigger than when I cross-pollinate them. So Frankie's Red. And here I have Cosmic Charlie. Lots of fruit on Cosmic Charlie, just growing. And look how big this one is. It's not even ripe yet and it's already the size of my palm. Can't wait to try Cosmic Charlie. Oh, I tried Cosmic Charlie. Love it, it's really good. Can't wait to harvest it. All right, guys, next up we have is Purple Haze. We have Purple Haze and Desert King is right behind me. There's a bud here that you can see and there's way more buds in the back. But in the front is all sugar dragons. So that's what you guys are seeing now. And they are ready for harvest. Just look at how gigantic this fruit is. I'm just gonna take one off to make sure it's fully ripe before I take the other one off. So I'm gonna go right into there and cut that right off. And that's why I love these scissors, guys. The tip kind of bends here. So when I go in, it sits flat and I can just, boom, take the fruit right off. But this looks great. Purple Haze, always massive, giant fruits. Reminds me of a big, giant grape. Flavor is super sweet and it's super refreshing. Really like this variety. Okay, we're gonna go to now the more exotic and the more interesting new ones that's been growing. And here we are. The flower you see that's about to bloom tonight is Wild Berry Skittles. This one has been easily one of my favorite Asunta 6 sisters. The flavor, the flower, the way it grows, the branches, they're nice, thick. Everything about it is just great. They grow really thick branches. They get very swollen, so that way it's hard to break. And the flowers are so beautiful. But the main thing is the fruit tastes like candy, and that's why I named this one Wild Berry Skittles. It's just one of those fruit that are like candy. And behind me here is Asunta 6. So I should be harvesting this fruit pretty soon. It looks like it's almost ready. It's wiggling actually a lot. So I'm probably gonna leave it on for another day. I'm waiting for it to turn more red before I harvest this. So we're gonna keep that on. But you guys can see here, all of these are Wild Berry Skittles buds that I pollinated, and now they're turning to fruit. So can't wait to harvest all this. And we have an Asunta 6 flower right here that's gonna be blooming tonight. It's hiding, but I still see it. So we'll take care of that once it blooms tonight. All right, guys, here is this trellis here has been going through a lot. We have Asunta 5, Sunset Sherbet, Asunta 4, and Asunta 3. I call this my Asunta trellis. During the time when I was putting this trellis together, I wanted to try all of the Asuntas before I dedicated its own trellis, and they're all so good. So I decided to just keep this trellis and just have them keep growing, but now it's time to create a new one because Asunta 5s, look at the branches, you guys. They grow massive and heavy. And once they get to become very mature, the branches get even heavier with water. Look at how swollen they can get. It snapped the screws on my trellis. So I'm gonna let you guys see. My wood didn't break. I used cedar wood, so it's good wood. But you guys can see the nail couldn't hang onto it. It got so heavy, it snapped the nails, the screws. So I was very surprised that it happened. So I'm gonna redesign this trellis, make it so that it has way more support and arms on the bottom. So when I replant this Asunta 5 and all the other Asuntas, the same thing won't happen, and that way it can last many, many years. So that's the Asunta trellis here. Can't wait to harvest this. You're gonna see that they all look so similar together, but you can see the subtle difference. Here is Sunset Sherbet. This is the sister of this one. This is Asunta 5. This is also Asunta 5, but we named it Sunset Sherbet. And then down here, you have Sunset Sherbet and Asunta 3. And then over here, we have Asunta 4. And we have all the Asuntas here, all of the lineage. So that's gonna be cool. So Asunta 5s, 4, 3s, and even Asunta 6 will probably be all ready at the same time. So I'll make a video of a tasting of all of the Asuntas all at the same time and tell you guys which one is the best one or which one's my favorite now that we have so many Asuntas, right? Over here is my Ecuador Palora. They like to bloom or produce buds mostly like at the end of the season. I see them around September, even October, and they'll sit on here until the next season, and then they'll start to ripe, and then you get fruit. So I like to have Palora because they are my winter crop. During winter or early spring, the fruits get ready, and then I get to harvest all these fruits, and people are always asking me, how are you eating dragon fruit at this time? How is that even possible? And then I tell them my secret weapon is Ecuador Palora. All right, guys, this next one here is special as well. This is the newest Asunta. This is Asunta 7. And I am so in shock of how this Asunta 7 flower came out. A lot of people are also growing Asunta 7 seedlings, but the one main thing I've been noticing about all of the Asunta 7 is they only have a white flower. It's a very common flower, white with the green petals, but this Asunta 7 was the first tri-colored Asunta 7. And when I say tri-colored, this is what I'm talking about. The petals actually have yellow, red, and white in them. So I thought that was just so unique. I've never seen a tri-colored flower. It's usually two or one color. So to see this tri-colored flower, it was just shocking. And this is the first Asunta 7 seedling with the tri-colored flower. I'm curious to see if there's going to be any other ones, but so far I've only seen Asunta 7 seedlings that have white flower. Even though the flower looks cool and all, I want the fruit to taste good, so I hope whatever I pollinated this with, I mixed a lot of pollen because I really wanted to try this fruit. I didn't want to take the risk of pollinating it with Sugar Dragon or Pink Panther and having it fail on me again. So I did a mixture of pollen and I pollinated it, and so far it's looking good. This here, you guys are seeing fruits. This is a hybrid I created with Asunta 4 and red Laverne. Last season, the fruit wasn't too good, so I was almost questioning myself if I should remove it. But it was only the first year. I like to give it 2 seasons before I finally decide if I want to keep it or not. So finally, this is the 2nd season. If it does not pass the taste test this year, it's gonna be chopped and go. Even though this flower is so beautiful, if you guys saw this flower, you guys are gonna think of how much of a waste it is to just throw this away. But if the fruit doesn't taste good, I don't wanna waste my time growing it, even if the flower looks beautiful. So that's just me. If you guys wanna grow for flowers, Epiphylium have beautiful flowers and they give no fruit, so grow that. All right, back here is also another new variety. This is Asunta 5 crossed with Asunta 4. So yes, this is his first time ever fruiting, and I pollinated and it looks like it's finally set. There's 2 fruits. There's another one on this side. And I'm so excited to see what this is gonna taste because I love Asunta 5. Asunta 5 have really promising flavors. Asunta 4 has really good sharp tart to it. So I'm hoping that both of those characteristics combine with each other and we get a nice, tarty, sweet, super good fruit. So that's something I'm very excited for. And that was Asunta 5 crossed with Asunta 4. Some inbreeding, but it wasn't really because the pollen actually works. So you know that they're kind of foreign genetics. Down here is Katayi 2. And this fruit was given to me, this variety was given to me by Roberto. And I'm growing it to see if I want to continue to grow it. Last year, I got 1 fruit, but it didn't taste like what I remembered when he sent me the extra fruit. Maybe it grows better in Puerto Rico, that's where he's from. But in California, I've been getting smaller fruits and it doesn't taste as sweet for me. So we're gonna give it 1 more season and we're gonna see if we wanna keep it. All right, guys, next here is the pink Laverne. This is what made that Asunta 6 that was failing with me from the Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther pollen. The pink Laverne is such a great pollinator. I love it. And the fruit also grows so big, you guys. Check out this green one here, not ripe yet, but I did harvest 1 so far, and it's in my refrigerator just chilling, waiting for me to crack it open and eat. So pink Laverne doing very well, self-sterile, needs to be cross-pollinated, but makes very promising fruits. This next one here is DKCFA 16. I know that sounds a little crazy, but what that just means is it's a Desert King seedling number 16. So this is the 16th variation of the seedling when they grew it, and it's a good fruit. Last year I only had 2 fruits, but this year it was very productive in producing flowers, and now I have 2, 4, 6, 8 DK16. So I'm gonna keep all of them. Really like this flavor and I really enjoy it. So definitely gonna get all these cuttings out and then repot it in its own pot so it doesn't have to share with pink Laverne anymore. What I did was I kind of just stuck a cutting in there, waited for it to fruit and see if I liked it enough to give it its own pot. And so far, it has passed. All right guys, here is 2 more Ecuador Palora. This is when I started grafting, and I've kept them because it has a sentimental value with me, even though I already have a trellis over here, but also it produces so many fruits during the winter. And I even have one already right here. For some reason, it decided to bud one bud early this year, and I pollinated with its own pollen. It's self-fertile. Now we have a Palora Ecuador fruit. And now I'm starting to see more flowers starting to pop up. So that's a good sign. That means more are gonna start coming, and pretty soon here, this trellis is gonna be filled with Palora buds. All right. So this is just another one of the Palora. I don't see any buds on it yet, but it's gonna be coming very soon. All right, guys, over here is red Laverne. So you guys saw pink Laverne, here's red Laverne. And red Laverne is also self-sterile, but it also grows really huge fruits. At the farm that EO owns, it's called Moore Park Dragon Fruit Farm. I go there to buy his red Lavernes, even though I grow my own. It's because he grows them in ground, and when they're in ground, the red Lavernes grow to 3 pounds easily. Sometimes I go there and he has these fruits that's as big as my head, and it's so fun to bring home a fruit that big to show all my friends and family because they just can't believe dragon fruits even get that big. So if you guys want a showstopper or just to shock your friends and see like a huge dragon fruit for no reason at all, then grow red Laverne. And I have this fruit here that's been red for about 4 or 5 days now. So I like to, once your dragon fruit turns red, give it about 2 to 3 more days, sometimes 5, depending if it's hot or cold, and then harvest it. Dragon fruit always grow and change color, and the sweetness continues to get sweeter on the vine. The minute you guys cut it off the vine, the color of the skin still will change color, but the sugar content will not increase. It just kind of stays where it's at once you guys harvest it. So you guys want to make sure that your dragon fruit is sweet. Once it turns red, give it 3 to 5 more days before you guys harvest. Just checking on it daily, making sure it's not cracking, splitting. If you guys see any signs of splitting or cracking, cut it off right away, and you're gonna be guaranteed a super sweet dragon fruit. So that's the only one I have for red Laverne. Here's another promising one. You guys check this out. This is the green one of red Laverne that's not even ready yet. Here's a ready fruit, and just look at the size comparison. Look at how big that is. This is a promising 2-pounder easily that's gonna be grown right here. So pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, we're almost at the end here. There's 2 new varieties that I'm testing out, but this one that you guys see here is called Grape Pop. Grape Pop is a variety that is self-sterile, and I named it Grape Pop because it just tastes like a really good juicy grape. Very terpy with the grape flavors and juicy of all the grape gushes in there, and I'm really starting to enjoy this variety, and they produce really good fruits, self-sterile as well. All right, I'm gonna show you guys 2 more trellis before we end this video, and I don't think I've shown you guys this one yet. This one is called Orange Dwarf. I finally have some buds on Orange Dwarf, and I'm so excited to try this variety because Lopaka from Hawaii actually gave me this variety, and they told me that it's also self-fertile and they grow bigger than a Frankie's Red and taste better than Frankie's Red. If that's the case, then I'm definitely gonna keep this variety because I really love Frankie's Red, and I just love the name. It sounds so fun. Orange Dwarf, they grow into an orange little tiny fruit, but packs tons of flavor. All right, and this one here is called Amazona. Amazona is like a Palora, but when they grow, the fruit on Palora has thorns. Amazona does not have thorns, so that's one reason why I wanted to grow this variety, to see if this was really true. If this tastes just like Palora without the thorns, then I want this one, because the thorns are so hard to harvest with, because you have to brush them all off, and if you miss one and you grab onto it, you're gonna get poked and it's gonna hurt so much. So hasn't fruited for me yet, but it's starting to grow, push out more growth. So I'm hoping that it will eventually push some buds, because I see some from Frankie's right here. So I'm waiting for that. And last but not least, you guys, this trellis is called Lisa. Lisa is a variety that I haven't been too attached to, and that's why it's so far away from all of my main trellises. And I kind of been just keeping it here mainly for pollen. But I think after this year, I'm going to be removing this trellis, because the fruit isn't just what I like. It's very, it's not very earthy, but it does have an earth taste to it. It's very tardy if you don't harvest it at the right time. And the texture kind of reminds me of beet texture. It's like firm. So, and for some reason, I taste a little bit of salt in the flesh when you eat it. It's not just sweet, but you have like a savoriness to it too. And I'm just not about that, you guys. So Lisa, I'm gonna give it one more season to just finish off the fruits, but when it's done, I'm gonna be removing this whole trellis and adding something new there. So there's just way too many new creations that I'm gonna be creating, and I wanna make sure I have space for all of those projects coming up, you guys. So that is the mid-season update. I hope you guys enjoyed a little tour. If you guys have any questions of any of the varieties I just talked about today, feel free to leave in the caption in the comments below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. If you guys haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, so that way you guys won't miss a single thing. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Grafting Dragon Fruit. Peace, guys.